Have you ever mocked someone so much that they finally snapped and walked away for good? That's exactly what happened last night, at our neighborhood party. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the backyard where laughter and chatter filled the air. Everyone was having a great time, kids running around, drinks flowing, and the smell of grilled burgers wafting through the yard. It was one of those perfect neighborhood evenings, or at least it seemed that way on the surface. Emma, with her infectious laugh and sparkling blue eyes, was the life of the party, always making jokes and keeping the group entertained. Her husband Tom, however, was more reserved, the kind of man who smiled awkwardly when teased, his quiet demeanor often the target of Emma's playful jabs. But tonight, something was different. As the night went on and the teasing grew, the tension between them became undeniable. The laughter, once lighthearted, began to feel like something darker was bubbling beneath the surface. Little did anyone know, this party would be remembered for more than just its fun and games. It would mark the night everything changed. The backyard was alive with energy. The smell of sizzling burgers mingled with the fresh scent of cut grass, and the clinking of glasses echoed through the air as neighbors gathered to enjoy the evening. The kids were off in the distance, their laughter mixing with the adult chatter, creating an almost idyllic setting. It was the kind of party where everyone knew each other, the kind where the conversations flowed easily, and the jokes never seemed to end. Emma was the center of attention as usual. She thrived in the spotlight, her bright smile and quick wit making her the life of every gathering. Whether it was making people laugh with her clever remarks or joking around with the neighbors, she never failed to entertain. Tom, on the other hand, was quieter. He wasn't exactly shy, but he preferred to observe from the sidelines, laughing along but rarely putting himself in the center of things. He was content being the straight man to Emma's humor. Their dynamic had always been playful, a give and take of jokes and teasing. But tonight something felt off. Emma's jokes seemed to go on longer than usual, poking fun at Tom's quiet nature, his reluctance to join in on the dancing, or how he always shied away from being the center of attention. He'd chuckle, roll his eyes, and play along, but deep down it was starting to sting. The laughter that surrounded them felt more like pressure than fun. Yet Emma didn't seem to notice. She was too caught up in being the life of the party. As the night wore on, Emma's teasing of Tom grew bolder. It started innocently enough, with her making light-hearted comments about how stiff Tom looked while everyone else danced around the yard. But as the evening progressed, it became more pointed. She would nudge him and laugh, calling him a party pooper and a stick in the mud for not letting loose like everyone else. The group of friends around them would burst into laughter, and Tom, ever the good sport, would smile, trying to brush it off. "Come on, Tom, just join us," Emma called out playfully, trying to coax him onto the dance floor. The others cheered in agreement, egging him on, and Emma's infectious energy only made it harder for him to say no. He could feel the eyes of everyone on him as he stood there, awkwardly shifting from foot to foot. The laughter around him, which had once been fun, now felt like a weight pressing on his shoulders. "Seriously, you're just standing there like a statue," Emma teased, her voice light but sharp. "Afraid you might actually have fun?" Tom's face flushed with embarrassment. He didn't like being the center of attention, especially when the attention felt like it was mocking him. He had always been the one to laugh off her jokes, but tonight it was different. Tonight he felt humiliated. "Emma, can you just chill for a second?" he muttered, his voice quieter than usual, but the tension in it was clear. But Emma didn't stop. "What's the matter, Tom? Scared to dance? You can't even take a joke." She smirked, clearly not understanding the weight of her words. The teasing had gone from playful to cruel, and Tom's patience was starting to wear thin. As Emma continued to poke fun at him, the atmosphere shifted. The laughter around Tom no longer felt light. It felt suffocating. Every jibe Emma made seemed to dig deeper, and every chuckle from their friends felt like a personal jab. He tried to laugh it off, but inside something was changing. The tension was building, thick and heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Tom stood there, his hands clenched by his sides. His eyes scanned the group, But instead of the familiar faces he once considered friends, they now felt like strangers. People who were all too eager to laugh at his expense. The teasing wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't cute. It was starting to feel like ridicule. Finally, the moment came. Without warning, Tom's calm exterior cracked. He looked at Emma, his frustration simmering just beneath the surface. And in a voice that was steadier than he expected, he said, "You know what, Emma, this is ridiculous. I'm done being the butt of your jokes." The words hung in the air, and for a split second, everything fell silent. The partygoers stopped mid-laugh, eyes turning toward Tom, unsure of what they had just heard. Emma blinked in confusion, clearly caught off guard by the sudden shift in tone. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice faltering slightly. The playful spark in her eyes started to fade, replaced by something else. Something she couldn't quite place. Tom's hands shook slightly as he took a deep breath. "I mean, I'm done. I'm tired of you making fun of me in front of everyone. It doesn't feel like fun anymore, Emma. It feels like you don't respect me." Tom's words landed in the room like a bomb, shattering the playful atmosphere in an instant. The group fell silent, exchanging uncertain glances. This wasn't the Tom they were used to. The quiet, unassuming man who always smiled and let Emma's jokes slide. There was an edge to his voice now, a coldness that shocked everyone, especially Emma. She blinked, unsure if she had heard him correctly. "What?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. "What do you mean you're done?" Tom took a step back, his eyes filled with a mixture of hurt and frustration. "I mean it, Emma. I can't keep pretending like it's okay. Every time you make fun of me, it stings. Every joke you make at my expense. It's like you're not even seeing me anymore. You're not respecting me." Emma's eyes widened as his words sank in. She opened her mouth to protest, to laugh it off like she always did, but something in Tom's eyes stopped her. The group watched, waiting for her response, but she couldn't form the words. This wasn't the playful teasing Tom always tolerated. This was different. Tom's voice was quieter now, but the intensity remained. "I'm tired of being the punchline, Emma. I can't keep doing this." Tom turned abruptly and walked toward the door, his decision made. He couldn't stand another minute in that room, surrounded by people who didn't see how deeply he was hurting. Every step felt like he was distancing himself from a life that had once felt safe, comfortable, even happy. He was ready to walk away from it all. Behind him, he heard Emma's voice calling after him. "Tom, wait. Please, just let's talk." Her voice was shaky now, panic creeping into her tone. She hurried after him, her heels clicking sharply on the pavement. Tom paused but didn't turn around. His heart was pounding in his chest as he stood there in the cool night air, the laughter from the party fading into the background. He could feel Emma approaching, and a part of him wanted to turn around and make everything okay. But the other part, the part that was tired of being made a fool of, felt stronger. "You don't get it, do you?" Tom's voice was low, but the pain was clear. "You've been making fun of me for so long, Emma. At first I let it slide. I thought it was just harmless. But it's not harmless. It's humiliating." Emma's face softened, and for the first time she seemed to truly hear him. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Tom," she said, her voice trembling. "I thought it was just fun, a joke. I never thought it would affect you like this." Tom's gaze was distant. He shook his head slowly. "You never saw it, did you? How much it hurt every time you laughed, every time I had to pretend it didn't bother me. I can't keep doing that. Not anymore." Emma's eyes filled with tears, the weight of his words sinking in. She stepped closer, reaching out to him. "I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't know. I didn't know it was this bad." Tom stood still, his heart torn. He loved her. He really did. But the pain of constant humiliation was too much to ignore. "I don't know if I can just go back to how it was. I need you to understand, Emma. I need you to see me, not as your joke, but as your partner." For a moment they stood in silence, the world around them fading as they faced the raw reality of what had been simmering beneath the surface for far too long. After a long moment of silence, Tom finally let out a deep breath and nodded. "All right, let's go back inside," he said, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. "But we're doing this on my terms. No more jokes, no more mockery. Just us, talking honestly." Emma's heart raced, a mix of relief and guilt flooding her chest. She nodded, wiping away the tears that had started to fall. As they walked back inside, the atmosphere had shifted. The playful energy was gone, replaced by a quiet understanding that hung between them like an unspoken promise. Tom knew that this was just the beginning, though. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust, once broken, couldn't be repaired overnight. But tonight, they had taken the first step. Emma's genuine apology and her willingness to understand his feelings were a glimmer of hope in the darkness. It wasn't a perfect resolution, and the scars from the past wouldn't disappear just like that. But it was a start, a chance for something better. And for the first time in a long while, Tom felt like maybe, just maybe, they could rebuild what had been broken. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey through the complexities of love, respect, and the power of words. Emma and Tom's story is a reminder that even in the closest relationships, it's easy to overlook how our words and actions can hurt the ones we love. What starts as harmless teasing can quickly spiral into something much more damaging, and it's up to us to be aware of how our behavior affects others. If this story resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe and join our storytelling family. Together, we can explore the ups and downs of relationships, betrayal, and growth. As you reflect on today's story, ask yourself, how do the words we say impact the people closest to us? And when is the right time to speak up and say, "This isn't okay anymore"?